Welcome to the second video in the Java Basics tutorial series. Here we're going to learn how to do some simple mathematical operations using integers. Going back to Eclipse, we need to go in our Project Explorer, right-click, New Project, Java Project, and we're going to call it MathTuts because we're going to do some math operations. For any Java program to run, we need a class which holds all of our code. So we're going to right-click on the MathTuts project, go to New, and under New, select Class. Right now, all we need to know is that we're going to make a class called MathTuts because we're making math operations in a tutorial, and we need to select public static void main string args. When we click Finished, we'll see 7 lines of code. As of right now, we don't need to understand the mechanics behind this. All we need to know is that for any program to run, we need a class and the main function. This is called the main function. Right now, we can delete what's inside the main function, and we can get started. To declare an integer, we need to write int, which is short for integer, and we need to give it a name. This is so that way we know what values are being associated with it. So let's say, for example, we have just a number, we'll call it num1, and we're going to make it equal to 0. We can do this multiple times for different numbers, like num2, which is equal to 1, and num3, which is equal to 2. All this means is that we have an integer called num1, which has the value of 0, and we have an integer called num2, which has a value of 1. We have an integer called num3, which has a value of 2. If we wanted to do an operation such as addition, we can make another int called ans, which is short for answers, and we can make it equal to num1 plus num2. What this means is that ans will equal to the value of num1, which is 0, plus the value of num2, which is 1. To display the results, we'll need to do a little bit of output. So we need to tell the system, so we're going to type in system with a capital S, we need to say the system needs to out, and we need to print ans, which is the answer. Once we hit play, we will see that in the console window, we get the result. So let's make sure that worked. ans should equal num1, which is 0, plus num2, which is 1, and the result should be 1, which is correct. Let's make a subtraction operation. All we need to do is select the plus and change it to a minus. If we run it now, we'll see that we get -1. Let's double check. Does ans equal 0, which is num1, minus 1, which is num2? Yes, 0 minus 1 is -1. If we wanted to do multiplication, we would have to use the asterisk or star. The reason why is the x is a letter, right? So we can't use that. We get the value 0. Is that correct? Num1, which is 0, times 1, which is times num2, which is 1, is 0. Let's make it more interesting. Let's do num2 times num3. And now if we run it, we get 2. Let's double check. Is 1 times 2 3? It is. If we wanted to do a division operation, we can just change that asterisk to a slash. And now we get 0. This seems a little funky because 1, which is num2, divided by 2, which is num3, should equal 0.5, not 0. The reason why we get this is because an int is a negative or positive whole number. That means it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, but it can't be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. What it does is it drops the decimal place and just leaves the number. So if we had 0.5, we drop the 0.5 and just get 0. We don't round up nor down. In the next video, we'll learn how to do some simple basic input and output operations so that way we can get the user to enter values that he or she wants added, multiplied, subtracted, or divided. We're going to make a simple calculator program.